TG Geeks, episode 410, December 26, 2022. Winter, the time for holidays and horror. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geek-to-man nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona, where we recorded this early, but we're at my sister's house as it's going to be released.
Yes, and I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from Happy Boxing Day.
Yes.
Wherever you are. Right now in Phoenix, Arizona, but on, later Tulsa or Owasso, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Hopefully there won't be too much snow.
I'm hoping.
Let's get on with this.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we are going to go a little more in depth into Winter Horrorfest, A Fright Before Christmas, that we attended last weekend, and talk about some of the people and things that we saw and did, and, just the winter-ish time of the year and what that actually means. And then we're going to talk our birthday shout-outs.
Our birthday shout-outs?
Yes, we're going to talk them. Talk them birthdays. Featured podcast of the week, everybody's favorite feedback. You have feedback,
I got feedback.
And regular shout-outs. In the second segment, we have maybe something if we don't talk too much. And then our wacky weekly recap and our regular shout-out. So let's just get on with this episode. I've been waiting a year to play this.
Yep.
My God. Oh, now I have to go look up the...
You got to look up the ID on that.
The ID so that we don't get caught by YouTube's algorithm. Oh, geez. Thanks for making that happen. Anyway, they're just getting, the algorithms getting a lot weirder all of a sudden. They catch a bunch of stuff that I've already got they give me a copyright infringement, and I've already put the tag in there, and then I have to dispute it, and then it goes away, and then I have to dispute the same thing over and over and over again. I got a little aggravated last time I did it. And Anyway. So, last weekend, last weekend. Yes, we went to Winter Horrorfest, and that just kind of happened to us. I think it was the very beginning of December. We were approached and we talked to Trisha, and she was kind of doing this Winter Horrorfest, A Fright Before Christmas, that was going to benefit the Mulligan's Manor, which is a home for LGBTQ youth at risk that are about to age out of the foster system. So, I mean, that's a long time to spend in the foster system.
Way too long.
And
sadly,
the whole point was to try to get them the best darn Christmas ever. And we got attached to that. We sponsored the Angel Tree table that was there. They had cards that you could write an encouraging note to the kids. You could take an ornament off of the angel tree and buy that gift for that individual. You could just give money and buy them gift cards. I gave some money, as well as we were talking about doing, some other things for Christmas. And what's for Christmas, at least the tradition that I grew up with, Christmas wasn't complete without a stocking. Mm-hmm. And so I said, and she agreed with me and said, oh my gosh, that would be wonderful. And so there were lots of different things. I went to, here and there and everywhere to fill this stocking up, and then it got full, and I had to resort to getting a bag for each kid too. So they got a stocking and a bag, and that included, thing like a coloring book, because we always, even as an adult, I always got a coloring book and crayons.
I remember when we had Christmas at Lynn's, there was one year where she got us coloring books and crayons. So obviously it's a family tradition for you.
Exactly. And Christmas stockings are not complete without Pez. So everybody got a Pez, and, it's just little knickknacks and gadgets and, just stuff. The Tartinkers and the Panzookers and all of the stuff.
Thank you, Dr. Seuss.
Yes. So anyway, with all of that, and the gal that runs Mulligan's Manor, it's a home. She's got, I think, 4 or 5 bedrooms, I think she said. It was her home, and she started this charity, and I told her, I gave her the stockings and the bags, and she almost started crying. I said, no, don't do that.
Otherwise,
if you do that, we'll both be a blubbering mess here in the middle of the sidewalk. So that's the thing that we did as part of our giving for the holiday season and for a charity. But there were other stuff that was going on for this horror fest. It was not just, hanging out there and having people pick ornaments, kind of like they do the giving tree or whatever.
They have angel trees at malls for people to get Christmas presents for kids and families in need.
This was kind of a little mini horror con that they were putting together. And we met some really, really interesting people. We got to see some really interesting presentations and a couple of films that, we'll just leave that alone.
Leave it at that.
Leave it at that. And they were just, they were not in our wheelhouse, shall we say, of films that we enjoy.
No. But for me, I think the real joy was just the people that we got to meet. That for me was just such a thrill. Well,
it was.
Then there was the presentation by Father Vampire.
Yeah,
which we talked about in last episode.
Well, the interesting thing was, and just to kind of back up a little bit, way past where I started, Tricia got in touch with me because Eileen Dietz told her about us. And
imagine
so
that.
It was like, holy moly, how did that happen?
I know. I was a bit surprised on that one.
And Eileen was there, and we got to spend some time with her and chat with her and, catch up. And it was really kind of nice. And then there were a couple of other people. We got to do Father Vampire, and it's a little... in a very in-depth doctorate level study in the origins of the vampire mythos and what the vampires really were. And if you want to check that out, go to fathervampire.com, and he's got some YouTube videos and some other things that he has put together. So it's worth looking at.
It's fantastic.
It's very fascinating.
I was endlessly fascinated by it, and he was such a nice guy. He really very was. Personable and knows how to do a presentation.
Yeah, and the first night on that Friday night, we were the only ones in there. I
know.
So
that made it kind of fun.
Yeah, it was kind of fun to just kind of pick his brain, and we interjected.
At that point, it became less of a lecture and more of a conversation.
Yeah, and then...
Apparently he was happy with us because obviously we got a lot of what he was saying.
Yeah, and we knew some of the stuff about some of this stuff, and he kind of filled in some blanks.
But I think he appreciated the fact that we were able to connect the dots ahead of time and start asking rather pointed questions. He told me later that he was really impressed with us.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. But he was not the only one there. No. There was one presentation that we did not get to see that I really wanted to see, and sadly it was only presented once. Father Vampires was done three different times, and this one was about how death is represented across many cultures and across the centuries.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, it was really. I understood it was just fascinating. So
when was that?
Saturday sometime. It interfered with something else we were doing. So
pity.
Yeah. But we did get to go to a presentation by Mick Strawn, who is a special effects supervisor. He's production designer, worn a lot of hats that are effects based, shall we say.
If you've seen any 80s, mid to later 80s horror film, then you've probably seen his makeup work.
Well, not his makeup, but his effects work.
I mean, that's right. He wasn't the makeup. He was the visual effect or the physical effects, as I like to call it.
And he took us behind the scenes, and he has a book that's called Behind the Screams that talks about how certain effects are done. And he had a presentation. Basically, it was Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and how some of those effects were done.
As well as how did they get out of a certain... they were
time loop.
Yes, it was a time loop. How did they get out of this time loop storyline? A fun case of art imitating life.
Yeah, so it was really... And he's a great guy.
Oh, he's hilarious.
He is just... Wow. He is one of these people that will just say anything. Mm-hmm. And, he's free with the, I won't say, they're kind of tongue-in-cheek insults for the most part.
Oh, they are.
And he certainly can dish them out, and he can take them too.
Yeah, they border on politically incorrect.
Yeah, and it is one of those. He's almost daring you to insult him too.
Yeah,
and when you do, it builds that energy, and it just gets crazy. So I was made a crack about something, and then he wasn't catching on, so I had to go on and explain it a little bit more and a little bit more. And then he finally got it, and he said, "You dragged me through that."
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, darn. I wish I'd caught that.
Yeah. It was...
I didn't know about that. I do remember during his presentation, he shows a clip from Nightmare on Elm Street 4. And as soon as the clip is done, you have to point out a continuity error. And did he get irritated with you?
He said, "You guys and your continuity errors. Oh my God! You just ruin it for everybody."
He had a name for people who do that. I can't remember what it is.
But he was a lot of fun.
It was all in fun.
And he was actually sitting next. There were just a small group of celebrities there, but they were all sitting together. So he was sitting next to J Benson, who is the makeup artist.
He's the makeup guy, yeah.
That for any of the 80s on.
And Nick and Mick have done movies together.
And work very well together. Yeah. And don't get them started telling a story together, because you're going to be
standing there for 30 minutes.
Craziness. Yeah. But Nick was really engaging, and to be able to sit there or stand there and just talk to the two of them. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I was taking their time, or, what's the word I'm looking for? We can be a little overwhelming sometimes.
We can be.
In the sense that we'll just continue to talk to people and draw information out of them as long as they'll let us.
Yeah.
And I felt bad, but there was nobody else coming up to the table. And if anybody did come up to the table, I'd step aside and,
I think it goes, it's to use as an example, Mick had made a reference to an IMDb credit that he never got.
Yeah.
It actually went to somebody else. And
it's actually the guy that I hired to sweep up afterwards,
And so he said, you can reach out to IMDb and have them corrected. And what was his response?
Well, then I wouldn't have a story, would I?
Exactly. So what does that tell you?
Exactly.
That kind of tells me that as long as you're willing to stand there and listen, they will talk.
He has a story for everything.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, he's been in the business and he's still working.
Yeah.
He's not retired. He is still working.
And he enjoys,
of course, he's got tons of stories.
And he enjoys talking to people. So it's obvious that he really does enjoy that. And I apologize multiple times and saying to the guys, I said, I'm sorry we're taking up so much of your time. He said, no, don't worry about it. We enjoy it. And
I guess
as we were leaving, they said, it was really nice to meet you guys. And I felt the same way. It was so good to meet them and to be able to just engage with them.
Well, I heard something, and maybe this was clarified to you, because I had to step away for a little bit. I was trying to research something, so I stepped away for several minutes. But maybe you overheard something. But I heard Nick say that earlier that day, before we showed up, that earlier that day on Sunday, that the two of them were talking, and they were talking about you and me.
Oh, well, as we always say, we're not the kind of people that you remember. We're the kind of people you never forget.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I was just wondering, but apparently it was all, everything that to say was very positive.
Yeah,
and I was just kind of curious if they had or if Nick had clarified any of that.
No,
with you.
not really. No. It just mentioned that they'd been talking about us.
I heard just a little bit of him mentioning that before I had stepped away, so I wondered if he had gone any further.
It was really great, and there were a couple of other people there that were celebrities, and we didn't get as much time to spend with them. We also saw.
I really wish we had. I'm very sorry we didn't.
A movie that was released. Actually, both of the movies were released by. What was his name?
Stephen Biro of Unearthed Films.
Yes, Stephen Biro of Unearthed Films. And he was a hoot, too.
So that guy's crazy.
He's crazy.
He's nuts.
He's as crazy as the rest of them.
Oh, man. He admits that when he was younger, he was really heavy on the hallucinogenics.
And there was, he picks up some of these movies and he releases them on DVD and Blu-ray. And that's how he kind of makes his, living, is finding these far out, wacky, crazy films.
I know.
That people, enjoy. And while it's not our level,
sorry, it's not for me. But I could see why people. I could see how there are people that would enjoy it.
It's the gore and guts horror films that have about 3 paragraphs of a story.
I don't necessarily have a problem with gore
the rest
and
of
guts.
It's blood and guts.
I know. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's when the blood and guts turns out to be like 8 minutes long. It's like, okay, I'm kind of done.
6.5.
Well, yeah. But what cracks me up is we the second night we saw Song of Solomon, which was just wow. And so then I'm having a chat with him on Sunday. I'm saying, I saw this movie and I can't remember the name of it. I tried describing it to him, and he said, oh yeah, I'm really curious. I'd love to know what this film is. So I when we got home, I researched it, found it, emailed it to him, and just earlier, minutes before we started recording, he says, oh yeah, I know that one. That one's weird. That one is weird?
That one is weird.
Okay.
Exactly.
And the movie we're talking about is it's Kill Billies, or now it's called Idol, and it's something that we saw at Horrible Imaginings a number of years ago.
Yeah.
And boys, it's pretty rough.
It is pretty rough.
That's a rough movie.
Yeah.
Yes,
for him to say, "Oh, that's a weird one."
Yeah, I saw. Wow, man, you've got some really interesting value system going on there, man. That's far out.
Exactly.
But yeah, but he was a neat guy. I wish we had the chance. Well, like the one that I'm really sorry we didn't get the chance to do more with because we didn't understand it. It was this gal who did this. It was a 10-minute horror film.
Yeah.
We thought it was a feature.
We thought it was a feature film. There was something else going on.
I think Father Vampire.
Yeah.
Oh, no. What's Father Vampire? There was something else going on. Oh, no. Mick's presentation was going on.
And we didn't want to interfere with that.
Yeah.
So we
skipped it.
We didn't realize that Mick's presentation was in the same place that her film was.
And now I'm really upset.
I wish it was a short film.
I wish I'd known.
Yeah.
So, I'm really sorry about that. It would have been nice to have... we chatted with her just a little bit at her table before before her show. I'm bummed that we didn't get a chance to chat with her more.
Yeah, but I'll say that I enjoyed myself.
I
at
did
this
too.
Little it's these small cons.
The indies are great.
And some of the vendors were really great. I was impressed with some of the vendors that they had. It was incredible.
Well, I think the thing that I like about these indies is that you have a chance to talk to some of these people.
Exactly.
If had Mick or Nick been doing an appearance at Comic-Con,
oh God,
you might be able to chat with them for a few minutes at their table. If they've got one, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's about it. That's kind of sad. That's what I loved about this little con. I mean, it's very intimate.
Yeah.
And there was such an opportunity to be able to chat these people up. I had the greatest time.
Yeah. And I will say that just before we started recording this, I got an email about it appears that they raised $1,000 in addition to gifts that were given,
nice.
Like the stockings that I gave and other gifts that are still pouring into Mulligan's Manor at this point. So
that's good.
That's kind of cool.
I'm glad to hear that.
And those will go to the list of things that the kids wanted, and anything left over is going to be in gift cards so that they can go do their own shopping.
If we were not so pressed for time, meaning us having to pack up and head out to Oklahoma, I would have happily grabbed every single remaining star and had us go to a mall and buy them.
Exactly.
Buy everything that was all the stars that were left.
Yeah.
Because it broke my heart that one kid wanted just a small makeup set. Another kid just wanted socks. I mean, and I'm seeing this, and I was just so sad that.
Well, they got some makeup and journals and some stuff.
I know they got stuff
in the stocking. So
and I'm happy about that. But I would have liked to have just for each specific person there to get something to get that one thing that they wanted.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I'm really happy that we got to partake in all of this.
Yeah, exactly. And that was our experience last weekend. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to see what's going to happen in the future. And it's not a one-time thing.
I hope
that
not.
There's a need for something for these kids that live here at Mulligan's Manor. It's an ongoing need. Yeah, Christmas is a great time to give and to participate in that charity work. But, the need exists the entire year for other things. And if you can possibly help, check out Mulligan's Manor and how you can donate directly to them and how you can help.
Right.
Hi, I'm Alex Schrader, opera singer, director, comic book writer, and you are listening to the incredible The Two Gay Geeks.
Here's a few selected birthdays for December 26th through 2022 through January the 1st, 2023. How about that?
January, there can only be one.
Yep. You are the one. You are the one.
There can only be one.
Not the one. Not the one. December 26th, Carol Spinney was an American cartoonist, puppeteer, artist, author, and speaker. He is best remembered for playing Oscar the Grouch and Big Bird on the popular educational television series Sesame Street from 1969 to 2018. Over the course of his illustrious career, Carol Spinney was honored with 2 Grammy Awards and 4 Daytime Emmy Awards.
Nice.
And he died just recently. Yep. And then we have Charles Pathé, was a French film producer and businessman. A pioneer of the French recording and film industries, Pathé is best remembered for pioneering the development of the motion picture. Charles Pathé is also credited with founding a company named Société Pathé Frères. I guess it's the Film Brothers, or the Society of Film, whatever. Anyway, I'll give up.
Paths
Don't hurt
Brother
yourself.
Society.
December 27th, George Cayley. British engineer and inventor George Cayley was a pioneer of aeronautics and aviation. He designed the world's first glider that could successfully carry a human being. He was also a prominent Whig and had contributed to the formation of what is now known as the University of Westminster. He died in like 1837 or something like that. So this was way before the Wright brothers. You know, it was right in that era after the Montgolfier did their balloon experience. Anna Russell. Wow.
Oh, my.
Was an English-Canadian singer and comedian. She gave many concerts in which she sang and played comic musical sketches on the piano. Among her best-known works are her concert performances and famous recordings of The Ring of the Nibelungs, an analysis, a humorous 22-minute synopsis of Richard Wagner's Der Ring des Nibelungen. And on the same album, her parody, How to Write Your Own Gilbert and Sullivan Opera.
I had the pleasure of seeing her live in San Francisco many, many years ago. And by the end of the show, I was my stomach hurt from laughing so hard.
Well, I did find one of her autobiographies and bought it. I have to be very careful with it because
it's an old book.
It's an old book, and the binding is pretty fragile, so I have to watch that I turn the pages very carefully or they're going to fall out.
Don't want that.
Yep. December 28th, Nichelle Nichols was an actress, singer, and dancer best known for her portrayal of Nyota Uhura in Star Trek and its film sequels. Nichols' portrayal of Uhura was a groundbreaking for an African-American actress on American television. From 1977 until 2015, Nichols volunteered her time to promote NASA's programs and recruit diverse astronauts, including some of the first female and ethnic minority astronauts. She was born in Robbins, Illinois, a Chicago suburb. She trained to dance and began her career as a dancer, singer, and model in Chicago. She went into stage acting and had a television and film career. Sadly, she died July 30th this year. That was a sad day.
It was a very sad day, but
Very
we had the
sad day.
pleasure of being able to actually sit, meet with her and talk with her for a few moments at San Diego Comic-Con when there was nobody around.
Not a soul. Not a soul. Maggie Smith. Veteran English actress Maggie Smith has an extensive career spanning almost 7 decades. One of Britain's most recognizable actresses, she has appeared in more than 60 films and over 70 plays.
Wow.
Making her debut as a stage actress in the 50s, she quickly moved on to TV and cinema. She's been honored with the Stratford Shakespeare Festival's Legacy Award and many, many things. I mean, oh my gosh, her part in the Harry Potter series is just, she's brilliant. And of course, then there's the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. She's wonderful in that.
She was made a dame, wasn't she?
Yes, I believe so. And then we have my cousin Kevin Falconberry, our good friend Jen Chavez, Dwayne Plain, and Terry Wheeler.
Oh, happy birthday, all of you.
Yes. December 29th, Lily Wachowski is one of the Wachowskis who are American film and television directors, writers, and producers. The sisters are both trans women, known for V for Vendetta, the Matrix films, Speed Racer, and Sense8.
Great
among
stuff.
other things. Yes.
Great stuff. And
Yes.
I mean, to me, well, everything you just listed there, I think is fantastic.
Yep.
I mean, V for Vendetta, the first Matrix movie is just a mind blower.
Yeah.
We love Speed Racer and Sense8. Wow, I think we're due for a rewatch.
Yeah, and they used some unusual filming techniques.
Yeah, they
and
pioneered some amazing filming techniques.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
A technique that they call bullet time.
Yep.
Which is just amazing how they did that. It took, it wasn't until I saw a documentary that so that's how they did that effect.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have Bernard Cribbins, was an English actor and singer whose career spanned over 7 decades. During the 60s, Cribbins became known in the UK for his successful novelty records The Hole in the Ground and Right Said Fred, and for his appearance in comedy films including Two-Way Stretch and the Carry On series. His other screen roles include the astronaut Vincent Montjoy in The Mouse on the Moon, Albert Perks in The Railway Children, the barman Felix Forsyth in Alfred Hitchcock's Frenzy, and the pretentious hotel guest Mr. Hutchinson in Fawlty Towers episode, The Hotel Inspector.
I remember that one.
Yes. On television, he was a regular and prolific reader for the BBC series Jackanory. From 1966 to 1991, he narrated the children's program The Wombles from 1973 to 1975. And he played the title role in the CBeebies series Old Jack's Boat.
CBeebies?
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to be the CBBC.
That's
the children's BBC.
Well, anyway.
I think that's what it's supposed to be, the CBBC.
Well, that's what was in the notes. I didn't come up with that. So, if somebody else did, they made the mistake.
Shame on them.
Not me. That's for sure. In the 1966 film Daleks' Invasion of the Earth 2150 AD, Cribbins played Tom Campbell, a companion of Doctor Who. 41 years later, he began appearing in the revival series of Doctor Who as Wilfred Mott, the grandfather of the regular companion Donna Noble and a temporary companion to the 10th Doctor. Sadly, he died earlier this year as well.
Yes, he did. But I believe we will get to see him again when Doctor Who comes back and we get the anniversary episodes with David Tennant.
Yeah.
Because I have seen some footage on social media with Bernard in them.
Interesting.
So I suspect that we get to see Wilfred yet again.
Oh, cool. And then we have a friend of ours, Kelly Kallstrom.
Happy birthday.
December 30th, Lloyd Kaufman is an American film producer, director, actor, and screenwriter.
I love this guy.
Kaufman is credited with co-founding Troma Entertainment Film Studio along with producer Michael Hertz. Kaufman is also credited with directing many successful films like Tromeo and Juliet. Now, Tromeo and Juliet, if I'm not mistaken, that was, who was it that was hired to do the script to shoot. I can't remember. It's a piece of trivia anyway. And The Toxic Avenger. As an actor, he played important roles in films such as The Transfiguration.
And they tried to get him to show up at Winter Horrorfest, but he couldn't make it.
It was just a little too expensive.
Yeah, I would have loved it. Yeah, because the guy's a nut.
Yep. Rudyard Kipling, English journalist, short story writer, poet, and novelist. Rudyard Kipling is best remembered for his fiction work, The Jungle Book, where our cat's name came from. Bagheera.
Right.
Because he's a gigantic Black Panther. He was born in India, and many of his works are inspired by his life in the country. He was one of the most popular English writers in the late 19th and early 20th century. Earliest 20th century.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Then we have a friend of ours, Alicia Dominic Keenan and Sam Holdren.
I think I found who did the script. It was James Gunn.
Oh, yes.
He was paid $150 to work on that.
Exactly. December 31st, Anthony Hopkins, highly renowned Welsh actor Anthony Hopkins, is best known for his portrayal of a cannibalistic serial killer in the movie The Silence of the Lambs. And he makes an appearance in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Hello, Clarice. The portrayal earned him prestigious awards and also a place in the list of best villains of all time. Other notable films of the celebrated character actor include Remains of the Day, Nixon and Amistad, and the TV series Westworld.
Let's not forget, he did play Odin.
Yes.
And was brilliant.
In those silly Marvel films. Yeah.
I thought he was wonderful. And it was said that he was kind of thinking about retiring from acting. But after doing that first Thor film, directed by Kenneth Branagh, he had such a great experience working on this movie that had a lot of Shakespearean overtones to it that he decided to just keep right on going.
He wasn't Thor about it.
No,
right?
Wasn't Thor about it the slightest bit.
And then we have...
Oh, my man!
John Denver, your hero.
Henry John Dutchendorf Jr.
Yep. One of the highest selling and most popular singers during the 70s. Mm-hmm. He was known for folk, pop, and country music and wrote a bunch of music that other people covered.
Well, Leaving on a Jet Plane, I mean, even though he finally did record it, Peter, Paul, and Mary were the ones who made it huge.
Exactly. Some of his greatest songs are Take Me Home, Country Roads, Leaving on a Jet Plane, Rocky Mountain High, Sunshine on My Shoulders, and Annie's Song, which was one of the very first songs you played on your 12-string for me.
It was one of the first ones that I played for you. Not the first, but it was within like the first or second or third, around there.
Yep.
And I had a pleasure of I was with my friend Julie Marshall, and I mentioned her because we got feedback from her.
Oh, cool.
She and I saw John in San Francisco. And it was just him. It was a very kind of a minimalist show, just him and his guitar. And we had already made this plan that when we had a moment, we were going to shout out something very positive and see if we get a response. And there was, the applause had finished. He was reaching for another guitar. And Julie and I yelled out at the same time, "We love you, John." And he turned around, looked at us, and then he smiled and said, "My fans."
Cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he died when a plane was piloted.
I was wrecked.
A light
and that
plane.
was just before we got, our Holy Union.
Yep.
Just days.
Yep. And then we have a friend of ours, Duncan Richoff, and Michelle Romano. Happy birthday. January 1st, E.M. Forster, best known for his iconic novels Howard's End and A Passage to India. British author E.M. Forster dealt with themes such as class division and gender. Born in England and educated at Cambridge, he had also spent some time as a secretary to the Maharaja Tukajirao III of India. I butchered that, I'm sure. Also known for his novel Morris, that was published posthumously because of the gay subject matter.
It's pretty risque.
And it's a brilliant,
it's a fantastic
story. J.D. Salinger, best remembered for his controversial novel The Catcher in the Rye, which was banned in many school libraries due to its sexual content.
I just did not like that book.
Yeah. Well, he was notable. His other notable works include the anthology 9 Stories and the novella Hapworth. He spent much of his life in seclusion. And then we wind up with a friend of ours, Natasha Bryant. Happy birthday. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
And it's time for our feedback. These are comments that we received in response to articles and episodes that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com. And the links for each of these will be in the show notes for this episode number 410 that you can also find at tggeeks.com. Starting with, regarding Hamish Downey's playlist for November. Got a comment from Hamish Downey, who says, "It's all about the theater, darling." At which point he then included an animated gif of Statler and Waldorf from The Muppet Show. I thought it was cute. Moving on, regarding Zootopia Plus premieres on Disney Plus November 9th. We got a comment from Hicks. Hicks, it's always great when we get to hear from you. He says, "I really like Zootopia and will check this out." And then got a comment from my friend Julie Marshall. "Our grandkids," wait, Julie, you don't have grandkids, you're too young, "would love this." Moving on, regarding Jeannie Koch reviews The Nightmare Before Christmas. Hey, Hicks strikes again. Yay. He says, "I saw this in theaters back on its initial release. Really enjoyed it. My daughter, who is 6, loves it now."
6, my God.
I know. My daughter, 6, loves it now, and we're debating on how to holiday decorate our home this year. Grinch or Nightmare? I'm leaning toward Grinch, but she is very insistent.
Well, it can be The Grinchmare Before Christmas.
Ooh, clever. Regarding TG Geeks episode number 403, we got a comment from Tommy Cannon, who says, "Thank you, TG Squared Studios, for the kind and sweet shout-out. Folks, take a listen to this podcast. They nerd out on everything." Yeah, boy, do we ever.
Everything.
And then we got a comment.
And anything.
Yeah, you name it, we nerd out on it. And then got a comment from Arkle, who says, "Forgot to mention this when the episode came out, but with regard to Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy, Zero uses they-them pronouns, not he-him. Just for future reference. And if that got addressed in episode 404, then this is redundant. In my defense, I have not listened to 404 yet as of this writing. I only just got up." Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. No, we did not know, but we'll remember that now.
It's mentioned in 410.
Yeah. And then we close off regarding Hamish Downey's news, Sushi number 135, Morsels of News from Japan and Beyond. Hamish Downey says, "It's an ode to the cherry moon this month, with a great photo from Bob Worley, news from Felicity Tilak. Plus, I recommend new things to eat and places to go here in Kansai. I hope you're having a wonderful week and got to see the recent cherry moon. Just a quick note, Bob Worley is the actor and comedian. Apparently, according to Bob Worley was a local NFL football player in his hometown."
Aha.
Thank you for the trivia. And that is our feedback.
You can leave a comment on our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, or you can even do on all of our episodes and anything we publish at tggeeks.com, and the episodes by themselves on YouTube. I cut myself twisted around there. And you'll receive a shout out on a future episode. We also have a listener feedback line. We want to hear from you. You can leave a voicemail and we'll play that on air, and it will be fabulous. you can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice.
For more than 2 decades, Judy and Dennis Shepard have honored their son Matt by working to erase hate around the world. The Matthew Shepard Foundation honors his legacy by inspiring the good work of activists, teachers, artists, and legislators, and everyday LGBTQ+ folks and their allies. Join us today in helping to erase hate. Visit MatthewShepard.org.
Thank you to NBC Comcast Universal for that promo. Well, as everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic books artists, writers, or others. We want you to check out their stuff wherever you find them, whether it's their Etsy pages, their Facebook pages, their web pages, their Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon, you name it. Wherever they are, check them out. Chat them up about their stuff. If you want to know something about their stuff, if you want to commission something from them, tell other people about their stuff. Buy their stuff. Please consider supporting independent creators. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, we have just a few minutes so we can talk about a couple of things here. I want to talk about the holidays. There are in like the month of December, or that in a 1 month period, there's over 27 different holidays.
Yeah. From
Hanukkah to Christmas to Kwanzaa to the winter solstice to, you name it. There's so many different holidays because the winter was, the solstice, and they kind of, a lot of them revolve around the solstice and are very important to some people. So whatever holiday it is that you celebrate in the month of December or around the month of December, happy, merry, and be happy and lovely and celebrate in your choice of in your manner.
Yes.
What?
What? Yeah.
What are we talking about? I lost my train of thought again. Celebrate in the manner that you are accustomed to for your holiday.
Well put.
Also, during this time, the holidays are extremely stressful for some people. They can be. They bring up lots of old stuff, family stuff, all kinds of craziness happens at the holidays. Lots of alcohol is imbibed, lots of tempers and other stuff can, flare. Please, if you are considering suicide, there are people that will talk to you. Please reach out for help. As I said on the Trans Lifeline, you are not alone. There are others that have been there that can help you. Mm-hmm. Please reach out for help.
And it's time for our weekly review. This is the partial weekly review because, well, we haven't run everything yet since we're recording this episode early. But
very early.
Yeah, very
earlier than we normally would.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Tuesday night. But I can give you what we have scheduled. So, starting with Sunday, December 18th, Nerdy Chupacabras number 131. On Monday the 19th, TG Geeks episode 409. On Tuesday the 20th, Ben's Holiday Breakdown, a Christmas Carol told as a horror story. On Wednesday the 21st, Andrea's Angle, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, perfect fun. Don't know what we're running on Thursday
Probably
the 22nd.
Some Christmas
it'd be a
episode,
Christmas,
yeah.
Something that we've run in the past, a Christmas article. On Friday the 23rd will most likely be a Hamish Downey, but we don't know what yet. And then we close off the week for Saturday the 24th, Christmas Eve, This Got Made, hosted by Carlton Tetley, the holiday special.
Oh, and that one is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's a send up of
Pee Wee
something.
Herman,
so
we'll say, yeah.
Yeah.
It made me laugh.
Yep. And you can find all these things at tggeeks.com.
We have some shout-outs that we need to make. First to Arkle. We heard feedback from him a little bit earlier. He's, in reality, Brian Weber. And he's on Twitter as Geek of All Trades. And geek is spelled the letter G, the number 3, the number 3, the letter K of all trades. Geek of All Trades. Also referred to as Brian the Ampersand List YouTuber. You can also try and find him that way. And we mention it because he has his Arkle Times Post Dispatch News, which does republish some of our content from time to time. So that's why we give him the shout out. And while you're looking for all things Arkle, go to his YouTube channel. And we highly recommend it because Arkle has got some really interesting things going on there. And to do that, just go to youtube.com/Arkle Studios. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles to their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours. Got to give big thanks to the moderators for saying that we could share away our content there. Their address is facebook.com/group/Gay Geeks After Hours. That's all one word. And then to The Gay Geek for pretty much the same thing. And their address is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And as always, we give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Other places we can be found are Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Sci-Fi Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays for a replay. Listen to their other content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've been hanging out at 95 for a long time. I'd like to get over 100.
It'd be nice to get over 100.
Please, please, please. And that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We have several links on the page of things we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please live and be your authentic self, no matter what anyone tells you. And also know that you are not alone. There's somebody going to talk to you. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated. Peace.
Cheers.